Are we gonna like get blue balls or just going into this, or do they? I hope that doesn't happen.
I do it.
Hey, you're leading, bro. It's not your podcast, bro. What do you usually do?
No, just introduce yourself first. No one knows you here.
Everyone knows.
All right, easy there, buddy. Slow down there.
All right, so go for it. Let's start.
No, honestly, just like probably just introduce yourself first so people at least know your name.
Start up with the camera.
No, look at me in the eyes when you say your name.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Wait, do I or not?
I feel like I literally said look at me.
Okay, all right. Hey everyone, my name is Meg35. I'm a house, techno, DJ, and producer in Los Angeles.
And bring it a little bit closer to your mouth, bud, because it's not really picking up. Yeah, let me see.
Check.
Go ahead again.
Check.
There we go.
All right. Going again?
Yeah, going again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Meg35. I'm a house and techno producer and DJ here in Los Angeles.
See, that wasn't so hard, was it?
Not at all.
Like an angel's voice, you know, just serenade
it. You know, that's what it is. Well, you bring your pee.
You know, I feel like on YouTube, that's going to be the most replayed part.
Oh, yeah.
People are just going to put their headphones on and go to sleep then. That's like that voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can get started. But honestly, like, let's first, like, kind of go back in time. And
Hit me.
I mean, obviously, we've known each other for a while, but, like, let's kind of backtrack a little bit and talk more about where the fuck do you come from?
Where do I come from? You mean like where I grew up?
Where you were born and raised? Who made you? What made you?
Well, there was this guy and this girl.
Okay, maybe let's...
Oh, okay. So not that far, okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward, yeah.
Just like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so technically speaking, I was born in San Bernardino County. A lot of people don't know that. But I was born in Loma Linda. But I was raised in SoCal, like all over Los Angeles, mostly like Southeast LA. So like East LA, Bell, Huntington Park, Cudahy, Maywood, and then I ended up residing in Downey for like the most part of my life. But yeah, that's where I grew up.
Well, I mean, now you're in Long Beach.
Now I'm in Long Beach. Now I reside in Long Beach. So yeah, but again, still south, right? Southeast LA mostly. I mean, technically speaking, Long Beach is like, well, yeah, it's like on the bottom of LA kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Long Beach now, I reside there. I love it. The community is super awesome. It definitely ranges. There's
what do you mean by that?
Long Beach for sure. You have like your hipsters, right? It's not the hipster crowd. North Long Beach, you know, it's very like there's money there. Same thing with like 2nd Street. So like Bixby, it's like nicer part of Long Beach. Then you have 2nd Street and Belmont Shore. That's where the money's at. Where I live, it's kind of like downtown-ish. So East Village, kind of like Alamitos Beach. So that's where I live.
Yeah. But I mean, you like it more than LA?
Yeah, for sure. I love LA. I mean, I grew up here, you know, LA is really awesome. But yeah, sometimes I just kind of wanted to get away. And I think for me, I've always loved being at the beach. I'm a beach boy at heart. Usually like growing up, my mom, when we didn't have money and stuff, like her quick fix was like, all right, we're broke. Let's go to the beach and get like a Little Caesars pizza. We'll get like a Shasta 2-liter from the 99-cent store. So
It's a Shasta.
exactly. That's how fucking broke we were at some point. It's not a soda brand, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're a brother of five.
Yeah, I'm the middle child, man.
You know what? I keep forgetting that there's a lot of you, but because I only
Mexican, dude, of course. There's definitely a lot of us. That's small for like Mexican families. 5 is not a lot.
Well, you're the middle, eldest.
I am the middle. Yeah.
Oh,
Go middle children. Yeah.
Yeah, right here, middle as well.
You know, bro, it's like we're the.
Why is it always a middle child?
I think for me personally, what I've realized about being the middle child, it's like I don't know. It's definitely unintentional, but it feels kind of intentional, right? Because your parents focus on the oldest.
Yeah.
Then they feel bad for the baby. Like, oh, we got to raise them right.
Oh, yeah.
The middle one's going to be fine, you know? And it's just like, all right, cool. I guess I'll fucking figure out my life myself.
Funny how like, even in like this community that we're in,
Yeah.
like the black sheeps, and it's always the middle child.
Yeah, you
I can't
know,
tell you how many middle children I mean.
absolutely. And I'll even go as far as this. I feel like for me personally, like when it comes to the scene, that's what a lot of the scene, at least more so like when I first started like going to these events, they were the black sheep. They were the middle children, the people that often got left behind because they were weird or different, right?
Yeah.
But I found solace in that. You know, I was like, oh shit, there's other people like me here that understand what it's like not to belong.
Yeah.
You know, and there was some kind of clarity, you know, and some kind of like I don't know, like I said, solace would probably be the best word, where I found peace.
Yeah.
And finally finding like my tribe.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're definitely going to get to that point in a bit, but at least just kind of like a little bit more background.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I'm just very curious to know what you were like as a child.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like, were you the rebellious type? Were you the quiet and shy type?
No.
Were you the...
I was definitely a troublemaker. I got expelled from like 3 schools growing up. Yeah.
I love it.
Every middle school I got expelled from.
Oh, you're the bad boy, huh?
I was just heavily ignored, man. You know, those little children, they don't get enough attention. We just do dumb shit. And then our parents were like, hey, oh, fuck, you exist. You're causing me problems. It's like, oh, but you remembered me, though, right?
Now you see me.
Now you see me, right? So, yeah, I was a troublemaker. Yeah, I got expelled from all my middle schools. But I wasn't always like that, dude. I was actually a really sweet kid growing up. But then... not to get too personal, but it's like, you know, my parents, they weren't really together when I was like born. They were already separated. So like I came into life with that like environment of like my parents, like that whole family shit, like not taking a shit on those who have mom and dad, you know, that's really great. I'm happy for you guys, but that wasn't me. Like I grew up trying to figure out what the fuck a family was. And like, obviously you've known me for some time, but you know, my ethos as a person, it's like I treat everyone I meet like they are my family, because I always have that mindset of like, what if they went through the same shit that I've gone through? Like maybe they just need somebody like me in their life to make them feel like they belong.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. Don't cry, Waleed. It's okay.
Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
I know, bro. I love you, man.
No, it's all good. Okay, I mean, yeah, now you're the rebellious child. Like this is up until like a certain point. Obviously you were in high school. Did you go to college at all? No?
Yeah. So let's see. To answer your question, that rebellious kind of thing stopped. It was 7th grade and 9th grade. I know that probably won't make sense, but it will right now. 6th grade, I got into a lot of fights. I came from a city. Don't know if you're familiar with Norwalk.
Yeah, I know Norwalk. Yeah.
So Norwalk, I grew up in Norwalk, like up until like the 5th grade, 7th grade, right? And then my mom, she moved us to East LA, and like those fucking kids are ruthless, dude. It's different. I feel like in some communities, like the parental structure, like they're all about their kids. There's a PTA and shit. When I grew up in East LA, it wasn't like that. You know, a lot of our parents worked nights, graveyard. So, well, I mean, for lack of a better word, a lot of the kids in East LA were little assholes because they had no discipline. And it's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
You know, so when I got switched schools, right? My mom had to move back in with my grandma after she divorced my stepdad. So we moved to East LA from Norwalk. And I remember some punk ass kid tried to bully me in Norwalk, right? And, when I was in East LA, I'm sorry. When I was in East LA, there was a kid that was trying to fuck with me, and I was like sweet, bro, like really sweet. So I remember he fucking stole my hat. It was like hat day at school or some shit. And he stole my hat. And I was like, can you give it back, please? It's like, no. I was like, dude, please give me back my hat. And it was just like, oh, okay, were you gonna cry? I did. I started fucking crying, bro. I was like, just give me back my hat, please. I was so mad, dude. But at some point, I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, he wouldn't give it back. Everybody was laughing at me, and I just threw a fucking punch at his ass, bro. And we started rolling around. It was crazy. And that was like my first fight, like ever. And I was like, oh shit, you know?
Is that what got you into wrestling?
No.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. But I started getting in fights in East LA. Then my mom was like, hey, I'm going to put you back in Norwalk. So my mom would fucking drive from East LA to Norwalk to take me to school. Because again, like she wanted me back in an environment that wasn't as toxic, essentially.
Yeah.
But then when I finally went to Norwalk, as I was saying earlier, like these kids from Norwalk, right? When I went there in middle school, they try to act hard, and I was like, "The fuck, you guys are from Norwalk?" Like, I literally came from East LA. Like,
Yeah.
don't fucking do that. So like, yeah, I ended up getting a lot of fights because people try to act hard, like in the fucking suburbs, and I was like, dude, you don't really know what it's like to be in a fucked up environment. Like, okay, like you're in Norwalk, like I don't know, maybe your fucking older brother smokes weed and you think you're cool, but it's like, nah, bro. Like where I grew up, like it's different, right? So I got in a lot of fights. I got in so many fights, same shit. My mom was like, what the fuck? What's going on with you? You know? And I was like, I feel like I was a sweet kid, but then when I went to East LA, it really kind of like tarnished my like view on the world of like people are nice, people are good, because I got treated like shit in East LA. So I was like, fuck, it really hardened me. So I didn't tolerate shit. And obviously, if you guys can't tell, I'm not the tallest person in the world. I'm like 5'4". But imagine how short I was in fucking middle school. People thought I'm like shrimp, midget, shit like that. And like anytime I'd hear those fucking words, dude, it's like a trigger, dude. I was like, all right, let's fight. Like, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm like, no, bitch, you calling me a fucking shrimp? Let's fight. And they're just like, nah, dude, relax. But I would take things personally like a lot. It was really bad. So yeah, I got expelled from East LA middle school. I got expelled from this middle school called Hargett. Doesn't exist anymore. So then I went to Nimitz in Maywood. And that's when things kind of changed because in 7th grade, after I got expelled, my mom just kind of had it. And she like dropped me off with all my shit packed at my dad's house. Mind you, my dad was like not around growing up, okay? Like my relationship with my dad didn't really develop until like high school.
Like I'm sorry, like your dad wasn't in the picture.
No,
not
my
involved.
dad. Not,
Did you at least know about him, or was he kind of like 100% out of the picture? Like I'm.
yeah. So my dad, how can I explain this? So again, just quick little tangent, right? Like,
Yeah.
my story is like my parents hooked up after they divorced and I was born. That's how I came into this world. So again, like my dad was already kind of leaving the picture.
Yeah.
You know, he ended up, you know, finding another woman to marry or whatever. And I was still, you know, a kid, but he was trying to create another life. Well, like, you know, my mom was like single, I think, at the time, from what I know, right, as a kid. But yeah, essentially, like my dad wasn't around. He was a weekend parent, you know, sometimes he'd pick us up and like, and I say sometimes because like my dad was like, hopefully this isn't getting in trouble, but like your typical Mexican dad, like 2 fucking jobs. He'd start work at 6, get out of one of his jobs until like the afternoon. Then from like the afternoon, he'd work until 12 in the morning. And that was him every fucking day. And on the weekends, he had his own business. He'd spend like at least 6 to 8 hours like working in that business. So even when we were with him, we spent a lot of time like in his office, you know? So again, my dad never really knew how to be a dad. He's a great provider, you know, whatever the fuck we needed, he gave it to us. But he was just not a dad. Like he didn't know the first thing about changing a fucking diaper. Like I love my dad, but that was my dad. So when my mom dropped me off at his house, he was like, the fuck do I do? He's like, I don't know. I had it. Like, he's just a troublemaker. I can't deal with him. He needs his dad now, right? But obviously for me, like I took that to heart because I was like, fuck, like you're giving up on me? Like whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? But yeah, that happened. And then that's kind of when like I kind of changed because yeah, I was a little shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be the first one to say it. I was just heavily misunderstood and I spazzed out. And then like, I don't think I even lived with my dad no longer than a year, dude, because same shit, you know, like he would still work at 6 in the morning. He'd get home like after 12 a.m. So I had all that time to do dumb shit. Like at some point I was like smoking like cigarettes when I was like 11 years old. Yeah, man. Because what the fuck? There was no supervision, you know? I was just like, oh.
The world's your oyster.
And I'm glad it was like cigarettes, bro, because trust me, like there was harder shit around me. Like when I was living with my dad, we were living in Maywood, which if people know where Maywood's at, it's not the best city at all. It was low-key kind of ghetto. So yeah, we lived in Maywood. And I remember like, yeah, like I would smoke cigarettes. I would hang out with like fucking cholos and shit, you know. Like I'm really surprised I didn't become a cholo. I don't look good with a shaved head. So that was like my like not
Really?
no, I don't know. My hair,
No,
you know, like,
I mean, hey, it's a good set of hair.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it doesn't
lie.
consider. But yeah, so I was in there for like more than a year, and then my mom would check in here and there, and then yeah, one time she's like, "How are you doing with your dad?" I'm like, "He's never around." She's like, "What do you mean he's never around?" Right? And I was like, "Or are you acting surprised? Like he's never been around?"
Yeah.
But she was just like, "You're moving back in with me. You know, I can't believe him." And I was just like,
And so, how long of a time frame were you with your dad? I'm trying to get like a.
"Dude, less than a year."
Okay.
Like actually trying to like live with him. Right. And then I went back with my mom for like a year or two, and I changed a lot. I changed. I stopped misbehaving.
But hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
What was the catalyst to that change?
Getting expelled.
What, that was like a wake up call for you?
Yeah, because when my mom dropped me off on my dad's, I kind of saw it as like, damn, like, am I really that fucked up? Like, am I really that bad? You know? And my brother stopped talking to me. I was like 12, dude. Okay. Like my older brothers are like, what? My older brother is 5 years older than me. The oldest one's like 6 years, 7 years older than me. So they stopped talking to me, dude. Like the only person I would talk to was my dad. I had nobody else. Cause yeah, like not to say I took a shit on everybody, but it was more of like, I don't think that anybody understood me or wanted to take like, what is it? Wanted to take the opportunity to really understand me, right? They just kind of thought like, well, David's just a fuck up. Like, that's all he does is get in trouble and like have an attitude. But my dad, I will say that my dad is a big fuck up growing up. I love him to death. But it's relevant because when I would get in trouble back then, my mom used to like beat my ass, right? I love you, mom. But she used to beat my ass. But my dad would be like, what happened? And I was like, wait, what? He's like, well, what happened? Like, why are you in trouble? And I was like, you mean you're not going to beat my ass? He's just like, why would I beat your ass? Like, is it your fault? I'm like, well, I tell him what happened. I'm like, well, this person was bullying me and I fight them back. It's like, okay, good for you. And I was like, wait, for real? Right? I mean, it's different. Your dad, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like he tries to, you know, meet you where you're at. But my mom, right? She's a single mom, and I love her to death, but yeah, I don't think she was ready to be a single mom with fucking, 4 kids at the time trying to raise me.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel for her. I really do, you know? But yeah, my dad, really, he's the one that I could definitely say, hand over fist, loved me unconditionally. Like, when I would fuck up, he would still tell me like he's proud of me and that he loved me. Right. And it was so bewildering to me because I was like, why do you say that? Like, I'm literally fucking up. He's like, yeah, I know, but you know, you're in dealt like the best hand of cards. And I was like, fuck. But yeah, that's that, man. Yeah.
So now where does the music come into play?
Oh shit.
Are we skipping like a big in between?
I don't know, man. You asked the questions. I mean, you want to talk about wrestling? You want to talk about high school? I don't care.
Actually, no, we didn't. Yeah, no. You mentioned wrestling because I know wrestling was a big part for you.
Yeah. So, I used to wrestle in high school. Funny story to that. Like I said, this is relevant. I'm a short guy, man, you know, and I was like, I'm going to play football in high school. And I was like, who the fuck is 5'4" in the NFL that's Mexican? Like, I get it pink, right?
Hey, you could set the bar.
Hey, man. But, you know, at that time, I was just like, fuck, okay, well, like, I still wanted to play football.
Yeah.
But then, again, like, where we were living, like, with my mom, it was a bad neighborhood. Like, I was supposed to go to this high school called the Bell in the city of Bell. But
Not Bell Garden.
no, not Bell Garden.
Okay.
So there's Bell High School in the city of Bell.
Okay.
Right? And I was supposed to go there, but my mom's like, fuck that, you're not going there. It's not a good school. And it's not. It's a LAUSD school. I don't think it's a great school, to be honest, compared to like Downey, which is where my mom ended up putting me.
Yeah.
Right? But what ended up happening with that was I didn't promote eighth. You know how people do like 8th grade promotion? And
I don't know what that is.
okay, when you graduate 8th grade,
Yeah.
here we call it promotion.
Oh,
Something different.
graduation.
So yeah, I don't know why here we call it 8th grade promotion, right?
It's always got to be special.
Okay, but check this out. I don't know how the fuck I got into high school because my GPA was shit in 8th grade. But my mom pulled whatever card she pulled and somehow managed to get me into Downey with like not good grades. I don't know how, bro, but she did it. Like, kudos to you, mom, for whatever you did. So when she told me I was going to Downey, yeah, like I had already, like it was already the summer and I already missed like football tryouts. So I was like, okay, well, fuck, like I want to play a sport. And my uncle, my mom's brother, he used to wrestle in high school. And then so did my older brother, Edgar.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if you miss football tryouts, like, why don't you just wrestle? And I was like, wrestling, that's gay. Like, people wear those tights and shit. Like, the fuck? I could never. And then, of course, you know, Edgar was just like, bro, just give it a fucking try. You could be good. And I was like, I don't have a choice. Like, if I don't, and the other thing too, right? Sports are expensive, man. You know, my family didn't have, you know, the financial resources to pay for football, to pay for baseball. And like, what? All you had to do for wrestling was buy your shoes. Yeah, that's it. So it was the cheapest sport. And yeah, that's why I was like, all right, fuck it. Well, you know, I won't feel bad asking my parents to buy me shit for wrestling because they can't afford it. But, you know, I can still play a sport. So yeah, I wrestled in high school. I like to say I was pretty good, right? But, you know, I feel now that I'm older, the reason I was a great wrestler, I had a lot to do with like me being an angry kid still. I still wasn't happy with my situation. You know, again, my parents still weren't there. And yeah, dude, wrestling was like my, what do you call it? My, I guess
outlet.
It was my outlet. Yeah, wrestling was my outlet. And like all the anger I was feeling, and I was sad, bro. Wrestling's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like people downplay wrestling a lot, but you're cutting weight like more than you're probably supposed to, like legally or like healthily, right? Like,
yeah,
there's times where I'd have to like, I'm not saying starve myself, that seems fucking extreme, but yeah, when you have to make weight, right? Like I shit you not, every week I'd have to cut 20 pounds in a fucking week. Every week, because my coach at the time wanted me to wrestle at a like lower division. Because, well, if you wrestle at a lower division, you can be the best. And I was like,
yeah, that's usually how it goes.
That kind of shit, right? And I was unhappy, dude, because like everybody else in my fucking team, like, I mean, I don't want to sound dismissive to everyone else who like wrestled with me, but nobody cut as much weight as I did. Nobody. Because like, and some of these assholes would be like, fuck, I'm 4 pounds overweight. I'm all like, oh, that's fucking nice. Like, I fucking cut 4 pounds in a day, like, whatever, right?
I mean, were you doing like the whole spitting, the sauna, the showers?
No, I don't think I was. No, I didn't do that spitting shit. That kind of grossed me out. That was never my thing. For me, it was like low intake, high workout. So I shit you not, like I'd eat like a bowl of oatmeal, and that would be my entire fucking meal for the day. That's it. Or like I'd eat a peanut butter sandwich or half. You know those stupid ass Smucker ones?
Yeah, I love Smucker. Why they stupid? Okay,
yeah. I
love them.
It's stupid because that's all I could eat. That's all I would eat half of that shit.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't eat a lot. Like if I had my intake, because basically,
yeah, the deficit.
Well, it's the deficit, but the way it would work is you would train all week, then you'd weigh in. And after everyone would weigh in, because they're essentially fucking starving, you would eat so much, bro. Like, I shit you not, like, we would eat at least 4 to like 5 pounds of food after we would weigh in. Because we all felt like, what do you call it? Deprived.
Deprived, yeah. Malnourished.
Yeah, very malnourished. So, like, yeah, I would fucking eat like crazy after I'd weigh in. And the next day on Sunday, I'd pig out. So when Monday would come, they're like, damn.
Back at it.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's do it all over again, dude. And it was like, it's crazy, dude. It's like 3 months of your life, 3 or 4 months, right? You just do that shit on routine, dude. And like,
how do you even function on a day-to-day basis, honestly?
You don't, man. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, my senior year, I ended up quitting wrestling because I always put sports before everything.
Yeah.
Right? So school, right? I only got good enough grades so that I could wrestle. But it caught up with me senior year because, like, dude, we had practice at 6 a.m. Then our coach enrolled us all in weight training for 4th period. Then we would have practice after fucking school, right? And then because I would have, I would be heavier, I would take a nap once I got home and I'd go for a fucking run. Like, dude, so that's like 4 times I'd work out through the whole day, every day. So, excuse me. Yeah, but that's what it was. So I did that on routine. And like every time, like after like, because we worked out before school even like, started, second period was like English. And like I would always knock out like clockwork, always. And I love English. I love writing. I love the arts. I love poetry and shit. I was just always tired, dude. I was always so tired. And I remember the week that I was supposed to go to master's, right, which is like past CIF, if you're familiar. My English teacher was like, "Hey, dude, you have a 14% in my class." This is April.
Oh.
No. This is like March.
Oh shit.
This is March, my senior year, and it's just like, you cannot graduate unless you pass English. So do what you will with that. And I was like, fuck. And for one of the CIF tournaments that I was at, I ended up fucking up my ankle really bad. And I was like, I don't plan to like be a college wrestler or an Olympian wrestler. Like that was never my plan. Again, it was my outlet, So in that moment, dude, my teammates took a shit on me, bro. They're fucking assholes. But yeah, they kind of like looked down on me because they were like, "Oh, you're a fucking quitter, this and that." And that really hurt. I never really like opened up about it, but it sucked because I can say that in that team, I was definitely revered as one of like the best wrestlers, but they try to like make it seem like, "Oh yeah, well, you're a quitter, like you ain't shit."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, dude, I'm a great wrestler. Don't fucking deny me that." I just chose not to finish. Because at that point, I was like, okay, like, what do I want for my future? Right? Do I want to graduate? Or do I want to win fucking CIF or masters or state? Like, the fuck? Like, I've heard of wrestlers that have won state and then they become like postmen. No shame being a postman, right? But it's like, what was all that?
What are you working towards? Yeah.
Right. And like my whole shit, like I always grew up, especially like doing sports, like as like all bronze, right? Like I didn't really consider myself the smartest person in school. I was never a good student, dude. But yeah, after high school, I was like, nah, like I want to be educated. Like I want to be intelligent. Like I want to seem more formal, and before high school, like just that whole 4-year period in high school, I was just doing sports. And I know after I got out, I wanted to kind of change and be like more centered on like my education and like building my intelligence, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So is this when music started to become more of an outlet for you? Like,
so yeah, I mean, I could tell you this, my love for music really developed in high school. And I remember there was 2 tracks that really, really, really got me into like electronic music. The first one was this song back in, I want to say 2008 or 09. It was a song called "The Reward Is Cheese" by Deadmau5.
The what?
"The Reward Is Cheese."
Okay.
It was an electro house track. And the first time I heard that track, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, this banged. And like back then, right? Like shuffling was a big thing, right? Like the whole shuffle movement.
Do you know how to shuffle?
I do know how to shuffle. No, I'm not gonna do it now.
I never did this.
I do know how to shuffle. I stopped doing it. But yeah, like everybody in Downey would know me as the guy who had his shirt off at all like the high school parties, like shuffling. Like I swear, people know me like that. But yeah,
I mean, you still do it now. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's a little different.
It hasn't really changed much.
Yeah, more or less. But yeah, so I heard that song, and then that was like really got me into electronic music. And then the other song that really fucking just like helped me take off in the electronic scene was "Technologic" by Daft Punk. Yeah,
I know that one. Yeah,
I heard that track and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is dope,
Yeah.
And then yeah, from there, like I've always liked electronic, but I never had gone to a rave like ever. I was just like, my parents, like even though they weren't really there, they were there enough to say like, no, you can't do these things. And also too, like we were kind of broke. So it's not like they would give me money to go to the rave. You know, it's like, fuck no. If I ever asked them that, they'd be like, shove it up your ass. Like, no way. Like, we're not doing that shit, you know?
I mean, what is it, like a religious thing, or do they kind of associate it with like drugs and alcohol?
I mean, well, I love my dad, but you know, my dad, like back then, you know, he was like a fucking coke addict, like way back when, right?
Yeah.
My mom, she's always been like a fucking nun, dude. I love her to death, but like goody two shoe, could never do nothing wrong. I don't know why she dated my dad. Maybe she's into like the whole bad boy kind of love thing.
Like I say,
Whatever, dude.
I'm just saying, you might be following your father's footsteps in a different direction.
Possibly, you know. But yeah, so my mom was just like, no, you can't do that. They do drugs there. I was like, they don't do that. Right? My dad, he knew what was up. My dad, that's why I love my dad so much. He always kept it real. Like I remember my first high school party. He was dropping me off. He took me to my first high school party.
I love that.
Yeah. And right before I got out of the car, he's just like, is this your first party? I was like, no, dad, we have plenty of parties. He's like, no, dumbass, this isn't a family party. I was like, what's that supposed to mean? He's just like, there's just going to be things there. And I was like what? Well, there'll be alcohol. I'm like, yeah, we have alcohol at our parties too. He's like, there's going to be drugs. I'm like, nah, I don't do that. He's just like, I'm just saying, mijo, please be careful. Like, you know, like call me if anything. I was like, all right. And like my dad, again, like I said, when I grew up, he was like an alcoholic, right? He stopped doing the whole drug thing way before I was born.
Yeah.
But he still was an alcoholic. So like I swore, bro, I took an oath that I would never fucking drink, right?
Yeah.
So my first high school party, I had a friend. I used to hang out with like the juniors and seniors as a freshman. Okay, like
Such a cool kid.
whatever, you could call it what you will, but that's just like, yeah, that was it. But I had a friend named Jerry. I'll never forget him. I'm still fucking close to him to this day. He's like one of my idols growing up, right? But he looked out for me. He's like a big brother.
Yeah.
And I remember I walk into the high school party and he's like, yo, fucking David's here, right? And I was just like, oh, okay. I'm like, what's up, dude? He's just like, yo, shots? And I was like, nah, I don't drink, man. And he's just like, nah, dude, you're gonna take a shot, bro. And I was like, no, like, please don't make me do this. Like, I don't want to drink, man. Because in my mind, I always kind of associated, like, if I drink, I'm gonna be like my dad and be toxic and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't do it. It's like, bro, if you fucking love me, dog, you'll fucking take this shot. And I was just like, and then for me, like, not gonna lie, it was definitely peer pressure because, yeah, like, he was part of the cool kids. And I felt like, yo, because I was new to Downey. So I didn't know anybody.
You wanted to fit in? Yeah.
Well, I wanted to fit in, but also, too, I was like, yo, I'm already in the elite, you know? It's like, I'm already in the high class. Like, I don't want to go back with the freshmen, right? So he's like, bro, take it a shot. And I was just like, fuck. It's like, if you love me, bro. It's like, if not, fuck it, dude. Like, whatever. And I was like, okay. So I took a shot. It was like Smirnoff vodka, dude.
Oh.
Horrible. That was my first shot.
Oh.
I took that shit back. And I was like, oh, is it? There you go, bro. Fuck yeah, there you go. And I was like, all right, I'll be back. I'm going to go to the restroom. I went to the restroom. I started crying. Yeah. I started crying, bro. I was like, oh, no, I'm an alcoholic. Oh, what did I do? Yeah, dude, it was pretty bad. But yeah, man, that was that. But yeah, dude, again, like in high school, I'd go to all these parties and like I didn't go to parties where there was like, I don't know, like reggaeton and shit like that. Like that wasn't me, you know? Like really? Yeah, no, it wasn't. Like, believe it or not, I'm Latino and like I do not fuck with reggaeton. Like people like that shit. I'm just like, that's cool.
What about like cumbia?
Of course, yeah, cumbia.
Okay, is it specifically
just reggaeton? I can't do like that fucking like I hate that shit. It just gives me like a weird feeling, right? I don't know. I never liked it. But yeah, like when I at the Downey High School parties, there were always like electronic music playing. So back then, the big like artists like that were like always playing at these high school parties were like the Bloody Beetroots, Crookers, Justice, Dead Mouse, shit like that. And like for me, dude, that was like
what a lineup,
peak air, dude. Yeah, it was badass, you know. And like that's why too, like I said, like I would go to all these high school parties, and that's really where like my love and adoration for electronic kind of blossomed. But yeah, dude, fast forward after high school, I didn't go to my first rave until I was like 22, dude. I was supposed to go to like EDC in 2012 with like Swedish House Mafia and all this shit.
By that time, they were in Vegas in 2012?
Yeah, they're already in Vegas by then.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to go, and then the week before I was supposed to go to EDC, somebody rear ends my car, which I was going to take to EDC, and I had to sell my ticket like the week of. So I didn't go, which I'm glad, because I'll be honest, no shame to those that like Future House, but like I feel like if I would have entered the scene back then, my music taste would have been totally different.
Yeah.
So when I did first go to my first rave, it was in 2015, literally 10 years ago, right? It's coming up in fucking October. Escape was my first rave. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first rave.
Wow, that's actually not that far than when I started.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I started kind of late. All my friends were already going to like events. Like, okay, so back then, not to talk shit, but back then hard used to be like the fucking thing. Like hard for Halloween, that was the shit. Like that was like the Justice and Dead Mouse fucking lineup. Like it was really good. Like now they have like hip hop acts and shit. But before, hard was totally different. It was very like electro house. They had like Soul Wax, Chromeo.
I love Chromeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different vibe, but hard started catering to a different like demographic. We know. I mean, I want to get too into that, but yeah, we know that. But yeah, so all my friends had been going to like events like that, and I was like, I want to go to a rave. And I'm like, I never could. And EDC was the closest I was gonna like go, and that should happen. So yeah, 2015. I was living with my dad. I moved back in with my dad. Like, whatever. Like, it's another story. But I moved back in with my dad, and then my step family was living with my dad, and I had a stepbrother. And he's like, hey, dude, you ever been to a rave? And at the time, he was going to like Cal State Fullerton. And I was like, no, I always wanted to, but like, I don't know. I feel like I'm too old for that. He's like, no, you're not. He's older than me. He's like, no, you're not. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, tell you what, if you buy your ticket, like, I'll take you. And I was like, for sure? He's like, yeah, for sure. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. So I bought my ticket for Escape. And then, yeah, like, I was there, and like, I remember where we were at the time, like the main stage. There was like Benny Benassi, Dash Berlin.
Damn.
Yeah.
Those names in a minute.
Yeah. That was like, because we originally went, or the only thing that piqued my interest at the time was Eric Prydz, right? But here's the funny story, right? I grew up listening to like Call on Me, right? And I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see Eric Prydz. But that night he played, if you guys don't know, Eric Prydz almost never plays that track. He like barely played it recently after like 20 years. So like he opens up with like a Cyrus D track, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But that was the first time too that like I took ecstasy, right? So when I
love it.
Oh, dude, like I started peaking.
It was just like,
in the middle of his set, and I was like, holy shit, like that set will still be one of my, obviously, you know, everybody's like
first.
that'll always be one of my favorite sets. But
The first.
yeah, like I like after that rave, and then like if that wasn't like fucking awesome enough, after Eric Prydz was Above and Beyond.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, at that point, bro, like
You were getting spoiled.
Eric Prydz closed with Opus. At this point, I'm fucking crying. Like, this is so beautiful. And then Above and Beyond comes on, dude, and they're like so fucking like, they really know how to like gauge the audience and their feelings. But like, there's like all these like images about like, you're like, what is it, the text? And they're like,
In the clouds.
hug the person next to you,
Yeah.
or you belong, or you are somebody else. Like, oh, crying even more. Like, yo, this is the best experience of my life. But yeah, dude, like after that, that's where shit really changed. That's where, at the time I was going to college to like study business, and I'm very good at business. I understand business very well. But my passion after that went into music. And I don't know, I felt like business was always like this kind of like, what do you call it? There's always this end game with business to be like, oh, okay, get them as a customer, like sell, right? And I find like, for me, it kind of felt like inorganic, like, oh, like I felt like I was just using people, you know, and I hated that feeling. Whereas for music, I never felt like I was using people. I was like, cool, like I just want to make people dance, or I want to create music to kind of help them feel better, or like to help them like just forget shit for an hour, right? Like that experience for me at Escape with Eric Prydz, like what I gathered from that was how powerful the DJ is, because whether or not some people see it this way, we have problems. We all deal with shit from a day to day, right? But a good DJ, right? Especially in that moment, seeing Eric Prydz, like he took you out of reality, if not just for an hour, so you can just forget your problems and really just embrace life with others around you, right? And like, yeah, that's what really led me to want to be a DJ. In addition to that, that's where I really fell in love with the rave culture. Yeah, it's deteriorated a little over time, but back then, dude, like I remember I got my first light show. I remember I got a massage with fucking vapor rub or whatever, right? I was like, oh shit, what is this? This is nice. Like, I'm being really spoiled here, you know? But again, also too, going back to like that middle child syndrome, right? Like that sense of belonging is unreal when you finally find a group that's just like, you're not weird. Like, what the fuck? Like, you get me? Like yeah, it was just liberating. And yeah, I was definitely entranced after that. And yeah, that's really how my like love for music just developed.
I mean, obviously there was a point where you discovered now techno.
Yeah. So the way I got into techno was, at least back then, right? It's different now. Back then, everything was techno. Electro was techno. House was techno. Whenever you heard electronic, like, oh, I love techno. Everybody just said it was fucking techno. So I remember a couple months after, I would just go to all these events, right? I would just be like, oh, I fucking love raving. Let's go. Next event, right? I'm going to be on. And then there was an event that I saw on Facebook, right? Back then, like, okay, they need to bring this shit back. But back then on Facebook, there used to be events. I don't know if you remember, but on Facebook, they would, like, you could create an event on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
But back then, like, that's where a lot of people found out about events in the underground. It was like through Facebook, right? So I'm right there, like minding my fucking business, scrolling on Facebook one day, and then I see like techno, Perk and Adam X, and I was like, oh, I don't know who the fuck they are, but it's techno. I love techno. Let's fucking go, right? And back then I was with my ex, and like I got her into like the electronic scene, or at least I took her to her first rave, right? Or her first electronic show. But basically, I was like, babe, like let's go to like the techno event. She's just like, oh, okay, sweet. She is so sweet. I love her to death, but she is so sweet, right? But yeah, so we're there, and then we're just like, doom, 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 and I'm just like, what the fuck did I sign up for, you know?
Yeah.
But like honestly, like I loved like how ominous it was, like how dark it was, and like back then, like the production wasn't as it is now. Like, don't get me wrong, like a lot of these promoters, like they come in with the lights and all this shit, and it's like a great production. But back then, really back then, there was like black lights and strobes. You
Very
know?
simple,
Very
down,
simple, minimal. But it hit, like, because it really felt like you're tripping the fuck out, because even though the lights, it's, you know, recent like events, like they're cool and shit. When you're dancing in the dark, like on a fucking 32 bar loop, and then a strobe comes on, you're just like, whoa, you know, it's like, it's a vibe, right? Because you kind of lose yourself. But when there's so many lights happening, like,
you're just so,
yeah, it's like overstimulation.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, after that, that's when like I was like, what the fuck is techno? Because even too, when I got into music, I dove really into progressive house because of Eric Prydz.
Yeah.
But then when I went to that event, I was like, what the fuck is techno? I need to find out more about this shit.
Yeah.
Who are some great techno artists? And then that's when I did my research on like Eric Prydz, Cyrus D. Who were some very like first techno art? Julian Joel, right?
Yeah.
Like that was probably like one of my first techno like people that I found out about. And yeah, little by little, dude, it just started compounding like my interest and my love for like techno. And I kind of forgot about progressive house for a while. I still love it. I just don't know, bro. You can argue with me if you want. I hope you do. But I don't know any good progressive house artists anymore. Like I don't. Like for the life of me, I can't think of any. Like
No.
Like back then, you know, like 2015, you had like Yotto was pretty good still. Who else? Grum, you know, like some of those people were like on the borderline of trance and progressive house. But yeah, dude, like I just couldn't find like my interest in, or I couldn't find any new artists. But with techno, I felt like I kept diving and finding more. And I was just like, yo, so when I first came onto the scene, my original DJ name was Andrade. Yeah, It was Andrade, and I was a progressive house DJ, and I used to just play progressive. And that was like for a year, dude. But again, when I found techno, I created my other alias, which was MiG35. And yeah, that's when I got super deep into it. Again, at that time, Julian Joel, Nicole Madaber, Cyrus D, like those were like my main like again, I really loved like driving and groovy techno.
Yeah.
I felt like they did it really well. I don't think I mean, obviously Julian Joel is part of drum code, but like I started getting more into like Adam Bayer, Pig and Dan, Bart Skills, right? But back then, like I probably like Pig and Dan a lot more than every other like drum code DJ at the time, right? Back in like 2017, 16, 17. Yeah. So that's how the whole techno thing happened. And yeah, I think that's where my heart's at. I think for me, even when I produce techno, it always begins with like a solid groove, like a solid bass line, and I build around that. Where when I used to make music for like Andrade and my progressive shit, I could never make music unless I was emotionally like distressed. So whenever I would feel sad or like melancholic,
Yeah.
I would produce for Andrade. But whenever I was like just being experimental, I'd make 35 stuff. Yeah.
Well, Andrade came first before Meg. Right?
Andrade came first, but again, like, see, the thing is, okay, and a weird paradox. I don't like making music for Andrade because I have to be in a very
negative,
essentially, right? Because the music for me, like when I would make music for Andrade, again, I was heavily influenced by Eric Prydz, right? So for me, like I would listen to Eric Prydz's music when I was sad, you know, because I would hear like songs like Tonight or songs like Align, right? And like they would just kind of like make me feel okay. Like they would just kind of get me out of my slump, which is initially why I love progressive house in the first place, right? Because it made me feel that way. Like, okay, it's okay. Like, you know, everything's going to be all right. It felt very unifying and uplifting, right? And the techno thing is like when I'm angry, you know, or I'm just like feeling fucking like, again, like mischievous.
Yeah.
It's my shit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
But then, yeah, you retired that one basically, and now you.
Yeah, I stopped doing Andrade. I think the last track I made for Andrade was like an ode to like my dad. And like I never finished that track because it was overwhelming. It was really
You
overwhelming.
think you'll ever do?
I don't fucking know, man. I mean, you know, obviously, I know you know, but obviously they don't. But my dad passed away due to COVID back in like 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, like I just really stopped producing for. I mean, and I tell you how I used to produce for Andrade. There's nothing lower.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I try to get back to making Andrade stuff after my recent breakup. But also too, I was like, I don't want to feel sad, dude. I don't want to be here. Like, even though like I can make, because I'll say this shit, dude, and I take pride in this. That Andrade stuff is like, I feel like that's the trick up my sleeve. Like when I create stuff for Make 35, you know, that kind of grows. That'll be great. But I feel when people hear like my Andrade stuff, I'm like, fuck, this is really deep. This is really like emotional, right? And I've always kind of played it out in my head that way, where I would build my name from Make 35, and then like when that peaks or whatever, I'd get back to Andrade, because I'm not ready to, what's the word? I'm not ready to like be in that emotional space to do Andrade stuff, but I could do Make 35 like where I'm at now, you know? You know?
Okay, now let's talk about Make 35, because
Sure. Yeah, hit me.
there's a lot of things. Meg, then there's Revolt, and
Yeah, there's where do you want to start with that one?
Okay, let's talk about a little bit before Revolt started. Okay, by that point, you're Make 35.
Yeah, so I started producing music for Make 35 like in 2017, right? Again, you know, my biggest influences were like Nicole Madaber, Cyrus D, Julian Joel, and yeah, like that's kind of like where my sound started developing.
Yeah, and you were getting heavily involved with the scene at that point.
Yeah, I say like in 2018. I mean, I was very, very, very like prevalent in the underground scene. So I would go to like, back then, the main promoter, at least from what I remember, was Techno State there. I think for me, I don't know, when I got into techno, like that was like the LA underground. Like that was like the most prominent event, right? Then you have events like Incognito. And then you have Interface, right? Interface was like Drum Cell, Trunkit. That was them before they became Observe. But yeah, I would go to those events, and like that really helped nurture like my taste and sound for like the true underground, because as much as I love like the drum code label, at least initially when I got into it, right? Even Tronic, like those sounds are, I kind of feel they're still a little bit more mainstream. But then, you know, you hear shit that Trunkit was playing, Drum Cell was playing. It was different. It was like super heavier, darker. There was like some industrial elements. And the difference between like the underground versus like techno at a rave, right? At least from my experience back then, was, you know, that techno at the rave was like very groovy, you know, very like uppity, where it's like, okay, like you're vibing, you're having a good time. But in the underground, it was raw. It was really raw. Yeah, it was still dance friendly, but it just felt like, I always say it like this, like that version of techno always makes me feel like I'm in a factory and there's like components just moving. Like that's how I always felt in the warehouse, right? So yeah, I would go to all these events, and then there was this one night, dude, out of a fucking whim, I was like, you know, I really want to go to a techno show. Let me just look one up on Resident Advisor. And 6 a.m. was hosting Octopus, the Octopus label, for like a label night. And it was like Cian, Juhan, Michelle Sparks, and Lee K. And I went and I was like, oh, this is cool. But dude, that fucking night changed. It like really changed how I saw the underground. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the guys from like Observe killed it, but the way that they played that night, like all of them from Octopus, like I was like, fuck, this is really good. And I really loved the event. And I was like, dude, this is really cool, yada, yada, yada. And then I started following them on Instagram. And then they put like, oh, we're taking volunteers, right? So I was like, fuck yeah, right away. I signed the fuck up. So I became a volunteer for 6 a.m. And then that opened up a much bigger fucking can of worms kind of shit. Yeah.
Do you want to just go into the revolt, or do you want to talk about 6 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, I think, okay, so 6 a.m. So yeah, I think I joined 6 a.m. like, I want to say 2018, 2019. And I feel, I mean, my personal opinion, I made a very big impact there. Again, I started as a volunteer. I was like fucking changing toilet paper, taking out trash. And I would do it for a while. And like back then, right, they weren't paying me, right? It was volunteering, right? And like, I shit you not, dude, I must have volunteered like at least 5 or 6 events, like for free. But for me, dude, it was never about the money.
Yeah, you're just excited to be on the other side of the stage.
Dude, yeah, for me it was, yeah, I got to be behind stage.
Yeah.
The other part of it also was like, this is my free entryway to like hear new music from the underground. So like as I'm working through the night, I'd be fucking shazamming, taking out trash, like, oh shit, this is a good track, So that's really what it was. And then Tommy, their operations manager, fucking love him to death. He was just like, yo, dude, you've been volunteering for a while. I was like, yeah. And he's just like, yeah. But I told him too, I was like, yeah, but I think I'm gonna take a break because, like it's on the weekends, as like I'd be there from like call time would be like 9 or 10, and I'd have to be there until after like they finish, so like 6:30 or 7 after cleanup, right? I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break. He's just like, oh, okay. He's like, dude, well, hold up. He's just like, I talked to Gia, right, which I didn't really know him at the time, right? He's like, and he's just like, yeah, like we want to like pay you. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, if that's the case, I'll come back. Like sign me up for the next one. He's like, yeah, we just realized like we haven't. Why didn't you say anything? I'm like, well, that's not why I joined. I didn't join for the monetary gain. I joined to be more involved in the scene, right? And then yeah, I remember the first time I met Gia. I think it was at a warehouse in Imperial. It's the OGs who have been there know it's like off of Santa Fe. But I remember meeting him, and yeah, very humble dude. He was like so reluctant for people to know who he was. It's kind of funny, but that's the kind of person he is, right? And yeah, so I remember Tommy introduced me, like, hey, this is Gia, and I was like, Tommy, what the fuck is this? So they know that's the guy who owns, this is like the owner of 6am. I was like, oh, hey man, I'm like, thank you so much for like bringing me on. Like, I'm really grateful. He's like, yeah, I heard so much about you. You know, a lot of people, you know, or they say good things about you. And I was like, cool, like awesome, right? And yeah, like I feel like at that time, I started like growing, and then people like, you know, the employees that worked with 6am, like I was just building like my bonds with them. You know, I was really close to all of them. And then, you know, that was going up until like 2020. And then, yeah, COVID hit, and then they stopped doing events. So I stopped volunteering, and that's kind of how it went down. But then, like, I think 2020 or 2021, a little bit after my dad passed away, they were messaging me, and they're like, hey dude, we're going to start doing events again. It's like, okay. And they're like, do you know anybody that does social media marketing? And I was like, yeah, I do that. Like, cause I have my freelance business, right? I do that. And they're like, oh shit, that's right, you do that. I was like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? Like, then they're just like, yeah, why are we even thinking about it? Let's just bring them on. And I was like, oh, okay, for real? Yeah, great. So then I started working there. I started like doing social media for them little by little. And then, oh, hold on. Oh, yeah, let me continue. Okay. So I started doing social media, but before COVID happened, Gia officially brought me on in 2019 as like part of the team. So it was cool. It was really nice. And per his words, right, he said that I was the only person that he brought on that was a volunteer that he actually took to dinner and like officially brought him in. And basically it was a vote between like him, Tommy, Marco, and Johnny. Like, do we like this guy? And they're like, yeah, bring him on.
So unanimous.
Yeah, I was unanimous. At least that's what I was told. I don't know, you know. But hey,
devil's in the detail. I'm just,
hey, whatever, you know. But again, you know, I will say, not to toot my own horn, you know, like I said, going back to how I treat people, I always try to make people feel seen. So like whether it was the bartenders, whether it's security, you know, again, I was like that volunteer that would go up to all the security and be like, you guys need water, you guys need this, you know, the bartenders, I'd ask if they need help. I'd go backstage. Like, honestly, I will say, and I'm fucking proud of this shit, like I was definitely one of the best volunteers, because again, like I felt like I finally had my home. Like I found my tribe. It was with 6am.
yeah,
You know, but yeah, so again, after 2021, we came back, started doing shows. I was doing social media. We were growing pretty fast. And then we brought on Eric. Then we brought on Sam. Some other cats like Pat and Decca. And like, we were just kind of growing like the events as well as merchandise. And then, yeah, essentially we were doing good. And then we didn't, I guess. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, at some point, there was just some disagreements, you know, and at the end of the day, I left 6am, right? I was kind of let go for just, again, not seeing eye to eye with like, you know, Gia, and whatever, that was that. But, you know, again, for me personally, like my whole thing with that was like, I really loved being a part of that group, right?
Yeah.
But there was just so much shit. I mean, it's business, you know? Like, at the end of the day, like, I have no, what do you call it? No remorse. I have no, like, what do you call it? Where you, like, hold shit against it?
grudges.
Yeah, I don't have grudges. Like, I don't have shit like that.
Malice or
No, it was just like, you know what? Like, I think what sucked the most was like, fuck, like, this is really ending. Like, I felt like I've done, like, dude, I went to Mexico twice with Gia. I went to fucking like Detroit 2 times, you know, like we were all part of it. But, you know, at the end of the day, again, like that space is still a business, right? And I feel like for me, what ended up just kind of happening was like, you know, Gia had a business to run. You know, again, we didn't see eye to eye, but it was his business at the end of the day, you know, and like, I still kept a good rapport with him, with all the other employees there. But yeah, you know, like at the end of the day, I still fuck with everyone from 6am. They still care about me, I think, or I hope. I still care about them kind of shit. But yeah, that was kind of that. And after that, that's where Revolt started kind of happening a little bit before I got let go. But Revolt kind of blossomed because there was a point where I was working with them where they were booking certain acts that I felt kind of questioned the integrity of 6 a.m., right? Or not 6 a.m., questioned the integrity of the underground, right? And I feel like there was this mentality that became business forward versus culture forward. But like I said, right, because it is a business, there are numbers that they have to meet. And I fucking get it. Like, I totally get it. But, you know, like, when I started seeing that, I started thinking about Revolt. Like, I don't want to be part of that stigma, because at that time, towards like the end of my career with 6 a.m., there was becoming this transition from like underground, right? The underground was becoming mainstream. And I felt like people were riding on that fucking like bandwagon. And it really kind of deterred me a little, because I was like, yo, dude, this sound isn't underground. These people are not underground. But there was a shift where these promoters started booking based off of followers, right? Versus like, you know, artists, right? Like, that's something that I will say about like Techno State, even Incognito before, I used to love to go to these events. I mean, it's the same reason I fell in love with the Octopus show, right? Like, they were introducing me to new music, right? I didn't fucking know who they were. If you were to tell me what their social media following was when I fucking first saw like the Octopus people, no fucking clue. No idea. But I was so grateful to experience like, holy shit, I don't know who these artists are, but they're showing me so much good music, which is how it should always be, right? But yeah, like during that time, there was back and forths, right? Where it would be like, you know, oh, should we really book them, right? Because I feel like Gia has, you know, he kind of went more into a business mindset where Marco, right, his partner, was like, I'll say this about Marco, like Marco for sure, he knows his shit. Like when it comes to like bookings, like he brought I Hate Models, he introduced 9x9 to like, you know, like Marco knows his shit. Like I will say, like the conversations I had with Marco, like Marco's still very much about the music, but he also understands the idea behind the business thing, right? But yeah, you know, again, at the end of the day, that really pushed me to like start Revolt. And then I started just booking people based off of like, I like the way you play, right? Versus like, oh, how many followers do you have, right? Obviously you've played like a lot of like the first Revolt shows were a lot of my buddies who I just loved the way they played, right? And then after, right, my first big booking, if you want to call it, was like I booked Shada Castro like early on, like way before she got bigger, right? But again, I saw her play at Incognito and she was just fucking amazing. And I was like, I don't care if she has 1,000, fucking 10,000 followers. Like, I want to book you, right? And like, that's the whole ethos and mindset behind Revolt. It's like, I don't want to jump on the mainstream. I don't want to throw an event with the idea of like, we need to make money, you know? And again, that's the difference between, you know, Revolt and like promoters such as like Incognito and 6 a.m. I think they grew so big where now they have to have, you know, they can't just think like, let's just book this artist, because there's so much that goes into their production where they really need to be strategic as to like, we need to make enough money so that we can do this again, versus like, again, I'll be honest, I think the budget for like Revolt events that we threw was like $5,000 tops, right? You're talking about like decorations, sound, renting the venue, security, restrooms, right? Like $5,000. When I work at 6 a.m., you're looking at least like $15,000, $20,000 productions, right? So that, again, that's why I say now I understand, because it's a different monster, right? There is no like, we could lose this money. It's like, no, we can't fucking lose this money, right? So that's really what it was. But yeah, again, Revolt was my baby. It wasn't supposed to be a fucking event series. It was really supposed to be like a MiG 35 invites like my buddies. But, you know, the first event that I had for Revolt, everybody was hyped. They were just like, when's the next one? And I was like, There's not going to be a next one? Like, what do you mean? I was like, this was just like a one-off. But the first people that were there, right, like Curly, Toka, Pash, yeah, they were just like, yo, we want to keep this going. And I was like, I'm not a promoter. I will never claim to be a promoter. Even to this day, I will never say I'm a fucking promoter. I'm an event organizer, right? Big difference. But yeah, like I was like, if you guys are willing to help me grow this, let's do it. But I don't want to get stuck doing everything, because for me, my goal was to grow my artist brand, right? It was to grow MiG-35. I wasn't, somehow, some way, Revolt ended up taking the forefront and MiG-35 fell behind. And that's what like really fucked me up, bro. I was like, damn. I did start becoming a fucking event organizer more than I was a producer and a DJ. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
Do you miss it?
Do I miss producing and DJing?
No. Do you miss Revolt?
Yeah, I miss Revolt. You know, I think for me, I'll say this shit and I'll die on this hill. You know, see the difference between all these events going on versus what I had planned for Revolt. Revolt wasn't supposed to be some fucking like rager, right? It wasn't supposed to be this event where everybody gets fucked up and yada yada. Like, sure, you can do that there, but the whole idea behind Revolt was like every event was supposed to be philanthropic. It was supposed to be like philanthropy kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Every event we had, we were donating it for a cause. So it's like I wanted the people who would come to our events to feel like even though they're having a good time and they're partying, they're contributing to something bigger, whether it's breast cancer, whether it's, what else did we do? Earth Day, right? Fighting pollution, right? Whether it's like for June, you know, we're doing like a Get LGBTQ fundraiser, like those kinds of things. Like every event had a purpose. It wasn't just like, let's get fucked up, right? And that's why, again, Revolt has kind of drifted, like it's kind of been in hiatus because, you know, events cost money. You know, I really applaud the promoters that are doing it. Are they doing it the right way? I think everyone's trying to do it the best that they can.
Yeah.
Right. But at least for me, like, I don't ever want to compromise Revolt as like, oh, we gotta book this person with 20,000 followers. Like, no, fuck no. If they do have followers, great. But I want to book people based off of how they play, based off of their sound. I don't give a fuck about your following. I really don't give a shit. Like, honestly, nothing irks me more than when people have messaged the Revolt page to be like, hey, this is blah, blah, blah's agent.
You really get that.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I got DMs from Revolt that would be like artist managers or like their friends pretending to be their fucking managers being like, yeah, you want to book X, Y, and Z because they have this many followers. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Send me a mix. Send me a mix and we'll talk, you know? And again, like, I don't know. It's almost fucking blows my mind that sounds so foreign nowadays. Like, oh, okay, focus on the music instead of the fucking artist, you know, like the clout of the artist, right? Like,
yeah.
Again, and I'll be okay. Like, I'll throw another, you know, Revolt event when I feel like we can book the right talent. You know, we can throw an event that makes an impact because obviously, again, you know, some of the events that we've fucking thrown were just like fucking overwhelming because it's like trying to set up the fucking, you know, trying to set up for the stage, right? I'm playing. I'm also, you know, acting as the operations manager. Like, dude, we overwhelmed ourselves, right? But then again, that's what it takes. But it's like now that we know that, that's why I'm saying like the next time we throw a Revolt event, it's gonna be with intention. It isn't just gonna be some like one random event again. Like I don't want that for Revolt. I never wanted that for Revolt. You know, again, for me, the people that I idolize the most in the scene, right, are the Observe guys. I think for me, like when they would do Interface every year, right, in November, right, they didn't throw events every fucking month, right? Because the thing I loved about the Observe guys is like, I never saw them as like promoters. I always saw them as like a collective, right? Whether it was Trunket, Hyperactive, I don't know if he's part of them or not, but he plays a lot of their shows. Or Jump Cell, or even Dean. Dean's fucking awesome, you know? Dean's super underrated. I feel like he doesn't get enough love and recognition, but he does some of the best openings for them, like fucking sick. But yeah, you know, like I love the Observe crew because for me, like that's what I aspire to be with Revolt is like maybe we don't throw events every month, but the events we throw are memorable and they have an impact in the community, right? So again, like that's always been my thing with Revolt is like I don't want to be a promoter, dude. I don't want to have this stigma of like, yeah, we're throwing events every month and like we're just trying to, you know, because again, like the promoters, you know, like Techno Fam and 6 a.m. and some of these other ones, like, yeah, they have the capacity to do it, but this is their lifestyle. This is like their livelihood, right? Marco and Gia, you know, the conversations I had with them, it's like, this is like their income. If they're not throwing events every month, like they're not going to have fucking money.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it. I don't want to treat Revolt that way because I don't ever want to compromise my values, right? To throw an event. And again, you know, like that's something that I feel for sure needs to be more looked at in the scene. Where, yeah, you know, I go back to, you know, how I see the Observe guys. It's like, they're my heroes, they're my idols. They really do their shit with class. And I don't really feel like they have anything to prove, you know? But even too, the last time I went to go see them, right, they had Surgeon. And every time I go to a fucking Observe event, I just feel like, damn, everything's perfect. From the crowd, which is a big deal nowadays, from the crowd that goes to those events, right? The production, the artists that they book, like everything is just properly executed, right? And again, dude, if you talk to like Mo and David, like even Dean, dude, they're all humble dudes, bro. Like they're really cool, and like I don't want to be a snobby, like Techno, like, and it's fucked up because we live in LA, and so many of these artists from here, that's how they act. Like their shit doesn't stink, and it's like, be a little bit more humble, dude, because the guys from Observe, at least from what I know from history, they're really the originators of the techno life, right? The techno culture here in LA. It's them, right? Yeah, Gia, Marco came along, you know, and they really elevated it, right? But yeah, you know, you go back, I mean, you talk to Gia and Marco, even Andrew from Dirty Epic, like they all look up to those guys because they were the ones that were essentially the founding fathers of techno in LA, right? So yeah, it's pretty much that.
So I mean, we kind of established that you took a step to the side of Revolt. So where are you at now, and where are you going? Because I want to kind of, I want to be able to have a meeting with you within a year.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And I want to set like a reference point from here.
Sure. Yeah.
Just to see how much you get done until we meet again.
So. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's provide some context, right?
Yeah. Paint me a picture.
Yeah.
And make it look pretty.
Yeah. So, look, man, before I kind of stopped doing Revolt, I went through a little situation. I think it's important to bring up, not to dwell on it, but this is important to bring up because I feel like as an artist, you go through a lot of trials and tribulations. You know, I felt like April of 2022, we were doing, you know, we had a lot set up. We had the whole year planned for Revolt, you know, and I went through a breakup. You know, it's fucking life. It's the truth. You know, these things happen. And, you know, sometimes we need to remember that we're human, you know, and for those who are aspiring to be DJs and producers, like life fucking hits you, you know, and I don't know, maybe things would have been different had that breakup not have happened, but it helped me provide clarity and refine the things that I'm doing and help me, you know, remember what it is that I love to do, right? Which has always been music, but I did take a break from that, right? And because of what happened, but you know, I found myself again. I lost weight, right?
And you're looking good, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You know, but you know, like I said, you know, being an artist, it's something I feel it's a lifetime. Like you don't never. I heard this saying. It says, musicians never stop playing music. They just run out of things to play, right? Essentially saying like, you never stop being a musician, but you can't make any more new sounds, right? Like that's just kind of how it happens. Does that make sense? So you think about it that way. But for me as an artist, it's like, you're always going to be an artist, right? Like you can take breaks. I feel like, at least when I went into like being an artist, it was very like, I need to hit this deadline, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. And you and I both know that you're gonna fucking burn fast.
And that's the thing.
You're gonna burn fast. Like, you're not supposed to shit out art. It's not how it goes. You're supposed to approach art, you know. One of my favorite quotes is by this guy named Henry David Thoreau. He's a romantic from the Romantic era. And he said that happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you pay attention to other things, it'll come and sit softly on your shoulder, right? So I think about that quote all the time, especially as an artist. It's like, you don't stop creating art, you know? Sometimes, you know, you can pause, right? But you have to find that motivation. You have to get back in that headspace to be like, all right, let me keep going. Because what I've seen from a lot of my friends, they're so on top of their artistry, they're going really hard at it, and then they burn out and they're just like, selling my DJ gear, selling my production gear, like, I'm done. And it's just like, fuck, like, you know, like, I wish I could have heard more, you know. And I've seen some, like, I don't know if they quit, but there's like names I haven't seen in a while that I'm just like, fuck, I would love to hear like their productions or hear one of their mixes. Like Jason Woo's badass. Like, he also plays progressive. He's pretty sick. You know, I'd love to see him play or like produce more music. Elliot Hahn too, you know, that I remember seeing him open for like Lindsey Herbert and Tommy 47. Like, he played a fucking sick ass set. Template, right? Template used to play with the Observe guys. That guy was badass. His name's Danny. But yeah, you know, like, I just feel like a lot of them kind of stop too soon, you know. And I learned more about love from the music industry than from any partner, because the love I have for music, I've come to realize like, when it comes to music, for me, I see it as like, in comparison to the relationships, like, those are variables, you know. Like, people can change their feelings and their minds, but this whole love for music you have, like, that's embedded within you. Like, only you choose to stop doing music. Nobody tells you to. You can't control other people's feelings, you know. But the fact that I'm still trying to pursue music after this whole time, the fact that I still have love for the scene, right? So going back to your question about where do I see myself now I feel like I'm in a healthy mindset, right? Now I have, you know, I have the mindset per se to get back into the studio, produce some tracks. I have, you know, the need to want to start playing again, you know. And then as that grows, I think my approach is a little bit different now, where I'm hoping I grow my artistry first, and then as I grow as MiG-35, if things go well, then Revolt kicks back up. But, you know, when it comes to Revolt, I don't want to pull that trigger yet, because I don't want to become the event promoter or the event organizer.
Back in where I started, yeah.
You know, that's where I feel I fucked up the first time. I want to do it a little bit different. I want to be like, okay, people know me as MiG-35 first. Then they're just like, oh, MiG-35's throwing an event. You know, because as much as like, I think for me personally, I don't know. I don't want to be a DJ that gets booked because of my following. And if that's what the promoters are going to like ask of me, I don't want that, which is also why I threw Revolt in the first place, because I never got booked to play for like 6 a.m. or any of these other promoters, right? To say I wasn't even at the artistry. I also didn't have the confidence to play there yet, but it was just like, you know, when I first did my first Revolt event, I was like, okay, I'm in control. I can book myself. I can throw my own event, right? If I get booked somewhere else, great, but I'm not going to wait. Like, I'll just throw my own event. And obviously you've been a part of it. And I take pride, even though it's not at the scale of 6 a.m. and all these other, you know, guys that are like doing it. Huh?
I feel like we did pretty good.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's just like, but also too, like, we slept good at night because we're just a bunch of fucking local dudes throwing a fucking show.
Some random kids.
Yes, you know, like nobody knows who we are, you know, and like
We still pulled it off. Then
that's what I'm saying. You know, that's I want to come from a humble place. I don't want to come
Revolt Rave, and then
there was one, the Operation Earth Day. Then we had Revolt in May.
But I feel like the two successful one was
It was Revolt Rave and it was Revolt at Pattern Bar in May.
really. What about the desert one?
Okay,
I mean, hey, there was a lot that happened in that.
I'll say this: the production and the artists in the desert was stellar.
Yeah.
Could have there been more people? Yes, but I don't want nobody to steal my fucking idea. But like desert events are hard to do.
Very hard.
But if we ever throw one again, I want to create like a pickup station.
Yeah.
I have fucking U-Haul.
Yeah.
People could throw all their shit in the U-Haul, and then we get a passenger bus of like 50 seats, one of those fucking coach ones.
Yeah.
We drive people out to the desert, and it's like a whole function, right? So it's like a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But the way we did it was just like, we're throwing an event in the desert. We'll meet you there. It's like people don't want to fucking go to the desert. Like it's just the truth, you know. Like it's hard.
I mean, they would if it was easily accessible.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like 45 minutes, not 2.5 hours.
Where the fuck's the desert around here, bro? There's no 45-minute deserts from LA.
Hey, you haven't looked hard enough.
In LA?
I'm just saying.
I mean, there's Palmdale and like Hesperia and shit, but
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll give you 2 hours then.
yeah. But again, going back, you know, to like the whole Revolt and like our successful events. Yeah, for sure. Revolt Rave was one of them. Even the events at the Hound Bar are really good, right? It was a very small space, but it always got pretty packed.
That's when I first met you guys.
Yeah, that's where you first, you showed up. Yeah.
I remember that day.
Yeah, man.
I was like, who the fuck are these guys? I mean, no, I was like very intimidated because you guys seemed very organized. I think that's what I caught on. You guys knew what you had to get done and who was doing what.
Yeah, man. Look, I'll say this, and I have no shame in this. You know, like, you know, the guys at 6 a.m., that's something that I will definitely say about them. Like, they know what the fuck they're doing. They know how to throw events, right? I learned a lot from them, you know, when it comes from like ticketing, promoting, operations, right? Like they're really good at what they do. You know, that's why, again, I'll say this shit now, like back then it might have been Techno State, but now like the prominent, you know, promoters are definitely, you know, 6 a.m., Dirty Epic, Synthetics Marco's brand that I feel like doesn't get enough love, but I feel like all of them really, they have their own individual brands, even Andrew with Dirty Epic, but I feel like their focus has been more on like their collaborative efforts through like Reform, right? But yeah, you know, they're doing a great job. You know, I feel like those guys are all my bros. I still keep it, you know, cool with them. But yeah, you know, again, like all the organization of the events for Revolt, they were like miniature series of, you know, what I've learned from them, from 6 a.m. mostly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much, we're almost at like an hour and a half. So yeah, just wrap it up with something, you know.
You tell me. How about let's do a third party? Ask me anything. No, ask me anything. I'll ask you. You can talk. He's gonna cut it out. Let's pretend you have no idea. You've been listening to me. What do you want to know more about me? Closing thoughts.
When you ever next be back.
That's a good one. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Why don't we talk about? Okay, hold on. Let's do this.
Yes.
So let's talk about the live recording.
Oh, the Sunday session.
Let's talk about the Sunday session, and the way we'll close it out is like that. I'm open for bookings, or maybe we'll come back again, right? So
Yeah.
pitch the question, or talk about the live recording.
Yeah, actually, so just to give the audience a little bit of context, so obviously, you know, there's the Zeta and Friends series.
Yeah.
And I think what I'll do, honestly, is that I'll be releasing the Zeta and Friends series before this goes live. Mm-hmm. So by now, like, the episode's already going to be out. So if anyone listening wants to hear that, go listen to the set. under MiG 35.
Right.
Beautiful set, by the way. You know.
Thanks.
And I knew giving you the Sunset set was a great idea. It just fit perfect.
Yeah, I programmed all the music.
Yes,
because I knew it was gonna be a sunset.
Chef's kiss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you came on a Sunday in the heat of August, and this was pretty much what your first proper set in what?
Probably over a year, dude.
Over a year.
Yeah. No, I haven't really played out. I think the last time I played out was like April of like 2023 or 4.
Yeah, it was a while.
I played at Techno Fam. I played a house set, which is weird.
Yeah, and honestly, everything we've talked about like your love of the groove, and everything in that set just really is what you just talked about. It really reinforces what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, man. I could talk a little bit about that set.
Don't even talk, just fucking like own it. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously, Resonance brought me onto his Zeta show.
So actually, a little announcement. I'm not going by that name anymore.
Oh shit, what's the name?
Just Waleed.
Okay.
Yeah, Waleed ZD.
Okay,
that's what I'm going with.
So
Resonance is retired now.
Okay.
So, but saving it for another time.
Yeah. So Waleed, asked me to do a set for his Zeta and Friends podcast.
Series.
Zeta and Friends series. And I'm going back to school right now, so I was like getting my ass kicked, taking a chemistry course. And the Friday before the set, I was like crushing a bunch of assignments, right, to turn in. So like I was like, fuck, dude, like I'm really nervous about this set. I haven't played in a while. I don't know, but then I don't know about you, dude. Sometimes when I'm stressed, I use DJing as like an outlet.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So there was a point where like, I like, obviously, I don't know about, this is the way I go about crafting my sets. I'll create a playlist and then I'll add every song I like.
Yeah.
Then I'll remove all the ones that aren't like
fitting in.
Yeah, they don't fit in.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, too, I took into consideration the time slot you gave me, right, which was the 7 p.m. And I was like, okay, that's like going to be sunset. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to play? And I was like, all right, I got it. And then, I started building the playlist. And I've always tried to do this if it's possible. But like, as much as Make 35 is about techno, like, the mentors that I had in my life, such as like my mentor Xavier, he's always told me like, don't be afraid to experiment with other genres, right? So, I can play a really, straight up techno set, but for me, like, I like incorporating house. I like incorporating trance. I feel like if you can somehow work that shit into your set, like that's just like set chef's kiss, right? So when I was building the set, right, I was like, okay, this is coming out really nice, right? And then dude, I remember I was shooting it on Sunday, and I remember like you already had the setup, so I was like, fuck, I haven't even tested these tracks. Like, let me just. That's why like before we even started, I asked you for. I was like, nah, I gotta get this shit down. I don't want to look like a dumbass, right? So but dude, like the programming was just fucking stellar. Like honestly, I personally feel like I haven't programmed a set that good in a very long time. And again, going back to Xavier again. Much love to you, Xavier, because he's really helped me develop as a DJ. I don't talk about him enough or give him enough credit, but he's really helped me define my sound, refine it as well. But he tells me to kind of like break the mold, to really just be like, hey, don't be afraid to throw this in. Like the best DJs can play techno and can incorporate house, right? Some of my favorite DJs like Robert Hood or Bart Skills, like they have these elements of house through like their techno mix, and I feel like, even though techno can be driving, you have that, once you hear that house track where it's like fucking beautiful sample of vocals, or you have like these piano chords in the middle of a set, it's just like, fuck, like it just takes you higher, but again, that set was definitely fucking for sure top 10. I'll even say it's like top 3 sets. But yeah, man, I was getting pretty emotional towards the end because I think for me, you know, it just reminded me just how much I miss it, just how much I love this, and how I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. Again, like I said, hopefully within a year, when we're back here, you know, there'll be some EPs or tracks.
I was gonna say, yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not about that new hard shit, you know, respectfully to those that go harder. You know, but my dream labels are still like Tronic, Drum Code. So my favorite label of all time, and I'll end with this, is Driving Forces, and they're from Austria. It's Sutter Kane's label, and I've had them on Revolt Transmissions, which is the Revolt podcast. But yeah, like, I don't know what happened. I never asked, but that is like, I don't know, maybe he can make an exception and be like, yeah, well, I'll put a track back on that label. That'd be sick. But yeah, I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to, for sure, within the year, get back behind the decks, you know, either in local shows. I will start taking bookings or doing bookings, whatever that saying is. Whatever.
Hire my boy.
Yeah. Booking now.
Well, at least now you have a strong, set to show.
Yeah. And again, I mean, like I said, if you're a promoter and you're seeing this,
Like and subscribe.
like, subscribe,
And watch it.
yeah, reach out, and then we'll talk about, you know, me possibly playing one of your guys' shows.
Yeah.
If you're a DJ, reach out as well, or a producer. I think Waleed's a way better producer than I am, but you know,
You just a couple years and then you can catch up. That's it.
yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being on, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then obviously watch his set, please. And support.
Please comment. Tell me if it was absolute shit, or tell me I fucking killed it. Either or.
I
Feedback.
feel like you're getting a lot more comments about your outfit, more on your set. I'm just saying.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm just going to say, you're going to change Zeta from a DJ show to a OnlyFans series.
To BDSM.
Yeah.
To a cabaret.
I'm saying those leather straps, dude. That's what's going to set Zeta into the...
There's a signature mark, bro. The signature mark. Thanks, brother.
Well, all right. Thank you for everything, man. Thank you. All right.